Hot Mike's Hot Show, live from Los Angeles. Wow. It's the show that watched every single solitary snap of Chargers Patriots. It was rough. Oh, God. It was a rough one.
Oh,
It's first things first today. The Chiefs' prayers fall short. Is it time to officially worry about my second favorite team? Meanwhile, in Philadelphia, the 49ers win. Brock is all of a sudden the MVP favorite. And Chris Broussard has to decide if he's changing his Super Bowl pick.
He already did, I thought.
And finally, did Greenlaw's ejection actually turn the tide for the 49ers? Alongside Chris Broussard, I'm Kevin Wildes in Los Angeles. Look at my shot. I look handsome and beautiful. And Nick Wright, how are you doing? Sorry, I was just taken aback.
I'm doing great, Wildes. Today's a great day. We're out in LA. It's wonderful. In fact, you know what? Let's get into that college football playoff.
Ooh, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's do the Chiefs, and then we
There's
can
something else going on we got to talk about.
Let's dig into the Chiefs a little bit. Trouble for Kansas City and Green Bay. Chiefs dropped to 8-4 after mustering 19 points and a handful of complaints from the fan base about penalties uncalled. Mahomes goes for 210, 1 touchdown, and a fourth quarter interception. That wasn't good. Chiefs deserve to win this game.
All right, well, let's talk about the call or calls in question. We can the DPI forget the Hail Mary. That doesn't matter. The uncalled DPI.
I'm glad you acknowledged
No,
that.
listen, the Hail Mary.
People are talking about that.
I was shocked that was a big part of the broadcast.
Right.
The DPI that people are talking about, let's show it to you again. And this would have set up a first and goal for the Chiefs with plenty of time, 4 downs, to work with. And I think we can show it to you, or we will show it to you in a moment. But it was an egregious no call. I think everyone agrees it was an egregious no call, and it was talked about on the broadcast the way it should have been, as an egregious no call. Now, there was another huge play early in the game, was the 4th and 1 play that Jordan Love made, and there was maybe just as an egregious of a no call on that, on the Chiefs pass rusher right there. That angle doesn't show it quite as well. We'll show you the reverse angle where you can see it perfectly, where he's holding him in the hands to the face, right? Okay. I am here to tell you.
Okay, thank you.
I am here to tell you, if the question is, did Kansas City deserve to win this game?
Yeah.
Absolutely, unequivocally not.
Look at this.
I thought he'd take that. Well, you're right.
The Chiefs were thoroughly outplayed throughout that game. It was, in my opinion, the worst defensive game they have played all year.
Facts.
Patrick, I said it after the previous loss to the Eagles when everyone was blaming the receivers for the drops. I said, listen, the idea behind the Chiefs doesn't work if Mahomes' margin for error is almost gone. He has to be great, and he made a mistake on the Sky Moore play.
Did he, though? Or
was it him or it was a miscommunication?
Call it a combo of it. You know what I think a mistake might be?
It wasn't a bad pass. It wasn't a good pass.
Is Sky Moore being involved in a critical play at this point?
Okay.
I think that the trust might be gone from, or maybe it should be. But this was the point, the larger point I was trying to make before the year, or at the beginning of the year, when people were like, man, the Chiefs get every call. The refs love the Chiefs. What did I say? I said the Chiefs are in standalone nationally televised games, and the officiating right now in the NFL is not great. So anytime there's a close nationally televised game, it's going to seem like afterwards somebody got screwed. Today, the narrative is the Chiefs got screwed. And I'm here to tell you the right team won last night. Like, do I think that was pass interference? Of course. Do I think if a few calls go the other way, the Chiefs could have stolen the victory? Of course. But do I think the Chiefs got wronged? No. Because I didn't like when people were blaming the refs when the Chiefs won. I'm not going to sit here and act like the Chiefs played a great game and deserved to win. If those calls went against them, that's the NFL. Play better.
Yep. Okay. You're absolutely right. Wow. You're absolutely right.
Tough
They
love.
did not. No,
I expect that from you.
I actually expected that from you.
I'm not an excuse maker.
Because it was clearly they played.
I didn't say anything. I just moved my head.
And here's the thing, for all those that feel the Chiefs really got aggrieved, and again, it was clearly pass interference. I love what Mahomes said.
Yep.
I love that he not only didn't use it as an excuse, but actually said, I'm not looking for a flag late in the game. Yep. All right, I'm trying to make a play. But also, and I think you'll agree with this, the Mahomes scramble on the right sideline when he got hit Right. He was inbounds when he got hit, and that was 15 yards. So that changes everything if they don't get those 15 yards. So who knows if the MVS play even happens.
I think the refereeing has gotten, in some spots, so bad that the reason they didn't call DPI was because they, at that point, knew they had screwed that one up. It felt like a real-time make-up call. That they knew they had screwed that one up, and then the ref got scared to call the DPI because the flag had just gone in favor of the Chiefs.
On the Chiefs, how they played, they clearly didn't deserve to win. No. The defense stunned me because, as you know, you've said they got the best defense in the league. I've said definitely a top 3 defense. Yep. They got gashed for over 5 yards a carry. And Green Bay has a middling running game, not like one of the best run games in the league. Obviously, Jordan Love played well. They didn't protect Mahomes. He got sacked 3 times. He was under pressure. And, Nick, still, the receivers still bother me. And I don't remember many drops. I know there were maybe 1 or 2. But it's not just the drops.
Nobody seems to be getting open.
Lack. They don't get open. Like Andy Reid has to scheme them open. They don't really have a guy that can beat somebody by himself. And then there's a lack of chemistry between Mahomes and the receivers at this late date in Week 13. You mentioned let's look at the MVS first because everybody's talking about the pass interference. Look at this play. Remember, we saw it a few weeks ago.
He turned the wrong way.
So he and Mahomes aren't on the right page. Was that Philly? That happened? The Philly game, same thing. And then you got the Sky Moore, the interception. I think it's coming up after this. Clearly, again, miscommunication there. And then Sky Moore, I think he audibled at the line of scrimmage, and then they
slowed down.
Yes,
for reasons I don't
it wasn't a greatly thrown ball, but it wasn't a great route either. So again,
Packers read it.
The lack of communication at this late date scares me if I'm a Chiefs fan.
Well, thank you, because it does. All right, so the offense looks broken. I don't think there's
broken.
It looks broken and boring.
Okay.
So here's 2022 versus 2023 through 12 games. A full touchdown less of production. Almost 60 fewer passing yards. Passes are a full yard short. 8 fewer touchdowns. Mahomes' passer rating is 95, which is better than Justin Fields, lower than Josh Allen by a few points, and a full 10 points lower than Purdy, Tua, and Dak, who are at the top. If you score 21 points, you can beat the Chiefs. Last 2 games, Packers 19, Raiders 31. I bought your idea that, hey, Raiders, fork in the road moment.
The Raiders.
We're going here. Before that, obviously, 17 against the Eagles, 14 against the Dolphins. Offensive points, don't yell at me. 9 against the Broncos. It doesn't feel good.
Okay, so
4-game total for passing yards for Patrick Mahomes. 870. What are we talking about?
Quickly, Nick, give you my major indictment on the Chiefs. And I said something similar a few weeks ago. I no longer feel that when they get the ball late, they're going to win. Like when Mahomes got that ball, a chance to tie, I didn't feel like, here it comes.
Go time.
I have always felt that way up until a few weeks ago. And that's huge for them.
So listen, before this season in Mahomes' career, the Chiefs had been held under 26 times. It has happened this year 5 times. So that is noteworthy. Those numbers are noteworthy. I do think some of the Chiefs' analysis about what does this offense look like without a star receiver disregards the fact that they not only won the Super Bowl last year, but they were the highest scoring team in the league. It was statistically arguably Mahomes' best season. So it's not as simple as they're just missing Tyreek because he wasn't there last year. Last year, they didn't have a different star receiver come in, and the offense was humming. So maybe it's a bit of the younger receivers are not making the plays that guys made last year. Maybe it's a missing Eric Bieniemy. Maybe it's that Mahomes, instead of having an A-plus MVP year, is having an okay year, and it's not enough. What I'm going to tell you is this. The game on this Sunday against the Bills will determine the direction for this team. If they win the game on Sunday against the Bills, in addition to ending the Bills, they are going to end up being the 1 seed, and everyone will have taken a deep breath by the end of the year when they finish the year winning 5 straight. If they lose against the Bills, then all of a sudden, there is probably going to be a bit of the mystique broken because the Arrowhead Invitational will officially be canceled. We will know it. It just will be.
I think that mystique is already. You're talking about among their peers.
I'm talking right now. It might be, but what I'm telling you is, if they beat the Bills and you look at what they have on the remainder and where the games are, they don't have another loss after. But even if they reel off a bunch in a row, if they lose 2 straight to the Packers and the Bills and they end up the 3 or the 4 seed, it's a whole different story. So that all of a sudden becomes, I would argue, this weekend Sunday, the biggest regular season game of the Mahomes era. The biggest regular season game of the Mahomes era, not only because you get to end the Bills, and by the way, it's a tough spot. The Chiefs got banged up yesterday.
Yep.
They lost their safety for the season. They lost their backup inside backer. We'll see for how long. And the Bills have been resting. That is, and they are a desperate team. But that's going to determine, in my opinion, how much real bravado this team should have.
Meanwhile, in Philadelphia, the 49ers started slow, then ran past, body slammed, and teased Eagles players and staff to the tune of 42-19. It's their 8th game scoring 30 or more. Here's Brock, Bosa, and Debo. Broussard, you called this one. You nailed it. Did the 49ers?
You are not wearing
the glasses.
sunglasses.
Nailed it.
I nailed it.
Yeah, he called
You're
it.
lucky we don't have the Friday,
the Eagles
Monday
were going to
morning
get blown
headline.
out. You thought your beloved Eagles were getting blown out.
We none of us gave a score.
No.
My Monday morning headline was "Cry Eagles Cry."
That's true.
That was number 1.
Yep.
The subhead was San Francisco shows that it rules the NFC. If only for a day.
Okay.
I mean, you couldn't get any more perfect with the headline.
Great prediction, great takes all week.
Thank
What's
you.
your answer to this question?
My answer, what is the question, Wildes?
The question officially is, did the 49ers prove that they are the team to beat?
Team to beat.
No, the best team is what it says on the screen.
The best team in the NFC, what the screen says, best team in the NFC.
Yeah.
Look, I have picked the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I picked it with my chest.
Yeah.
I picked it with bass in my voice. And I am not backing up one iota.
That was unwise.
Philadelphia, I still have as the team that's going to win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Now, objectively speaking, I think anybody right now has to look at the San Francisco 49ers and say right now they're the best team in the NFC.
Yeah,
they have pummeled the other 2 great teams in the NFC. Both of them. They pummeled Jacksonville. All right. So yes, you would have to say it's hard to pick a weakness anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
all that being said,
Philadelphia.
All that being said, I still am picking Philly.
Are you still picking Dallas?
I have not laid these flowers.
It's obvious. You don't have to lay the flowers. It's obvious. You can't sit here and make an argument that Dallas is better than San Francisco right now.
And I haven't.
You can't, but you're sticking with your pick, as am I.
Listen, the San Francisco 49ers have arguably, statistically, by a points per game thing, which Brew loves, the best defense in the entire league, certainly one of the very best. They clearly have the best running back. They have, and you guys spent a good portion of last week trying to poo-poo some of their supporting cast. Like, the Niners receivers versus other teams. Debo Samuel is as good of a do-it-all player as almost anybody in the league.
True.
He's not a traditional wide receiver, but we saw it last week.
But would you agree we don't see that every week? Now, it may not be his fault.
Right, of
but
course.
this reminded me of Debo a couple years ago.
Well, and remember,
he was doing this every other game.
I do think when you had a broken shoulder and his style of play is so punishing that if he's still nursing that to a degree, he's not going to have the impact of other guys because so much of his physicality. And while it doesn't get the headlines of the brotherly shove, you need a yard. Just Christian McCaffrey running behind Trent Williams feels pretty damn automatic. I mean, the Eagles have a great run defense, at least statistically, and there was no question to me that when the Niners needed a yard or two, they would everyone knew what they were doing. It was like the old Cowboys with Larry Allen, Emmett running behind Larry Allen. You knew it was going to go behind Trent Williams. You knew they were going to get it. And they dominate people. And yesterday's game was, to me, even more important because they called their shot. They came out and said, we should have beat you guys in the NFC Championship game. We were the better team. So we are going to, as Brew would say, come into your house, rummage through the refrigerator, put on some footy pajamas, and do all of those things.
Make a sandwich.
Like Philly did to Kansas City.
Well, no, I don't think it's like Philly did.
They didn't blow them out as much, but they talked all that trash, they went in there and did what they needed to do.
This was a domination. This was a domination by a team that right now looks, when healthy, like it has the strongest argument, that it is the best all-around team with a superstar defense, the best running back, wide receivers can do it all. George Kittle was great. Trent Williams was great. Quarterback played well.
He did. No,
you name everybody by name and then the quarterback.
No, I said do it all wide receivers. Ayuk and Debo.
Okay. We're going to get into it.
The Niners, I would, if my Super Bowl winning team was coming out of the NFC and it wasn't the Niners, I'd be pretty nervous right now. I'd be, if I were, Brew's got a lot of.
But you have Dallas going to the. So are you still with Dallas going to the Super Bowl?
Listen, unlike you guys, I don't flip-flop. I'm Mr. Consistency.
I'm asking the question.
But you have a long history of changing picks.
I hear all the.
When? All the time.
So stop it. Let's not go to the NBA Finals. Literally during the finals. After game 2, I think it was. But no. You're with Dallas, so we're both in the same boat. You got Dallas in the NFC.
Yeah.
I got Philadelphia. But right now, at this very moment, we agree San Francisco's playing the best football.
San Francisco's clearly.
They look like they're playing the best football in the league.
Yes.
Not just the NFC.
They look like they are clearly playing the best football in the league.
All right, I still have the Vikings. MVP odds. Brock, all of a sudden in first place.
Sweet Jesus.
Hurts and Dak tied at 2. Tua at 4. Lamar and Mahomes tied at 5. Let's dig into Brock's numbers, shall we? Well, he's got the best passer rating. Yards per pass, he's number 1. Completion percentage, he's number 1. Touchdown percentage, number 1. He's got 4 games with 3 or more touchdowns, and his second with long completions, pretty good. But Nick, do you want to go or do you want Brew to go?
No, I want to go.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to go.
Does he deserve to be the favorite? He is.
No. Guys, we all watched a lot of football yesterday.
4 touchdowns. Pretty good.
Hold on. Hey. Everybody can see the numbers.
Well, I'm just saying.
But luckily, we also get to watch the games. Was Brock Purdy the best player on his team yesterday?
No, Debo.
No, Debo was. And when I say it's more than just the numbers, it is important to know that Brock Purdy got, perfect passer rating and about 100 yards of passing on these and 2 touchdowns on these 2 Debo plays. And again, he's doing his job, and we can show you the 2 Debo plays. He's doing his job, and I'm not knocking him. This is, again, we've jumped the shark where it's not about, you guys could have probably checkmated me if you guys just wanted to say, hey, Nick, ready to admit Purdy's a little better than you thought? I'd probably have to admit that. But now we skipped all the steps to should he be league MVP because of a performance. We watched great football players all day yesterday. And it is, to me, an indictment on where the award could be, a la Chris Winkie or Jason White winning the Heisman.
Yep.
If on a day where we saw Tyreek Hill, and we can show you some of those highlights,
I saw one.
do what he did, and we're like, wow, he tilts the field in a way only a handful of players in NFL history have, where we watch...
So is that your MVP right now? Like right now?
No, right now it's Dak. I said that and right now it is Dak, but there are Tyreek's a guy that I would have ahead of Brock. There are a lot of guys I would have ahead of Brock because they are, on a week-to-week basis, clearly not only excellent, but the driving force. And Brock is not. He wasn't yesterday.
Okay.
What, was he? Was he the best Niner yesterday?
Well, yesterday was Debo, but Debo's not the best one every day.
Debo's great. So we all think Debo is a great player. So I'm going to take Debo's word for it. In February 2023, Debo talked to Adam Shine, and this is what he said. I feel like if Brock was in as our quarterback and how our offense moves, I don't think it would have been close. And Nick Sirianni went out and showed all this trash talk. And guess what? Debo was right. Brock went out there and destroyed the Eagles. So without Brock, they can't win.
No, without Brock, they got beat 31-7.
Wait,
that's what happened, and Debo said it, and then it happened.
Hold on. Can we just be intellectually honest for a moment?
It happened.
Just for a moment. When Brock went out of the game, was he replaced by a quarterback?
Well, the first time, yes.
Yeah.
No, for 2 plays, and then using that game where they ended up having to put Brock back in by your depth, like it's just intellectually dishonest if people don't remember the game. It's not that Brock went out and a quarterback came in and couldn't do anything. Brock got hurt. The next guy got hurt. Then Brock came back in. That is, if we'd have seen...
Because he couldn't throw the football.
Right, exactly. And then and it would be like me saying, why wasn't he better in the second half of that game? We all know it. So I just don't think that is...
But Debo said
it. Yes, because the Niners are a great team. That doesn't mean Brock Purdy's the league MVP this year.
Here's the thing,
Nick. A quote from February.
Tyreek is was phenomenal yesterday.
Phenomenal.
You know, I've been raving about him all year. We all have. He's on pace to become the first 2,000-yard receiver.
Mm-hmm.
If he keeps doing what he did yesterday a few more times, if they want to throw the award at him, I wouldn't yell and scream. But it's become a quarterback award. And if it's going to be a quarterback,
you think
right now, it has to be Brock Purdy.
You think he's been better than Dak this year?
Yes, because of who he's beaten. Here's the thing. Dak and Tua, I would say the only quarterbacks who statistically can compete with him, and you put up the stats, are Tua and Dak.
And I wouldn't have Tua in it either.
And, okay, so let's take Tua out. But Tua and Dak, neither of them has beaten a team with a winning record. Now, I know Seattle's a good team. I'm not just missing them. But neither of them has factually beaten a team with a winning record. Not only has Purdy beaten most of the best teams in the league, and again, I know it's not only him, but facing up against his main competition head-to-head, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, I'll even throw in Trevor Lawrence, not his competition, but that's another elite team.
You guys all of a sudden love the Jaguars.
No, they're 8. Hold on.
The Niners.
They're 8-3.
I know. I'm saying that.
I'm saying Dak Prescott has been doing this against tomato cans, and so is Tua. And Brock Purdy goes out there against 3 of the best teams in the league and goes 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, averaging nearly 300 yards a game. And in each one of those games, Nick, a passer rating above 140.
He's been on.
Now, here's the other thing I want to point out.
We got to go, though, bro. So.
Okay, quickly. You point out yards after catch.
Yes.
Purdy, yards after catch, percentage of your total yards you throw for. Let's look at this graphic. You compare him to Jimmy G first. Jimmy G had 54% of his pass yardage was after catch.
Yeah.
Purdy's is 49% for their careers, okay?
Yeah.
So he's not Jimmy G.
I didn't say Jimmy G.
All right, I know, I'm just saying.
MVP.
Now but let's look at some of the MVPs in the last 5 years. Last year, Mahomes, 54% of his yardage was after catch. Rodgers, 53, 52. Lamar low, 43. And Mahomes again, 53.
Again,
Purdy, 48.
That's fine.
So hold on. You cannot use the yards after catch argument against Brock Purdy. And that's the only argument.
The only one.
No, the only argument is where he was drafted.
No,
that's it.
It's not. He has not been as good as Dak this year. He has not been the best player on his team.
What did Dak do when they played? He outplayed Dak head to head.
Okay, so then, but let's go to, why do they both have 3 losses? Bruce and short quarterback wins guy. So there must be games Purdy's played poorly. The fact that he plays, like you're doing a thing where it's like playing poorly against lesser competition is not weighted. But what we all also know is that we watch the NFL all Sunday, and I know we got to go. Brock Purdy does not jump out as that's the best player in the league.
No, but he jumps out as, man, that dude's throwing the ball.
Yep.
Not making mistakes.
Man, that dude's throwing the ball,
that
not making
offense
mistakes.
is humming.
Give him the league MVP? We're going to give him the league MVP for that. When nobody thought he was the best player on his team yesterday, and that's why he's in first place in the odds. When we saw Dak on Thursday, give me a break. He's not league MVP.
What has he done? There's one reason to say he's not MVP. He was drafted Mr. Irrelevant.
It's because he's not the best player on his own team.
There have been guys who aren't the best player on their own team. I could argue Micah Parsons is better than Dak.
He's not come on. He's not the best player on his own offense. Then go ahead, Wildes.
I like to get you.
The defense, fine. Not the best player on his own offense, on his own unit.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.